Hey guys, welcome back. If you're new to my channel or simply not yet subscribed, I'm Brittany, and definitely make sure to hit that subscribe button. In New Hampshire, there is this castle that's in ruins. It sits concealed by dense woods that are close to the Vermont border. Each day, numerous visitors will pass through Madame Sherri's forest and explore the ruins that were left behind by this fascinating woman. Antoinette Briere was born in 1878 in Paris, France. We don't know a lot about her early life, and she also found work as a dancer and cabaret singer at some of the hottest clubs in France. In 1909, she would meet her husband, Anthony Macaluso, and he was a fugitive, along with being an American. He was going by the name Andre Rayla. So because he was a fugitive and going under a different name, the couple, when they came to the United States, had concocted this elaborate story that would make them fit in with the more elite of New York society. They would open a hat making shop and began designing costumes for Broadway productions. But the past will always catch up to you. And by 1912, Andre would be arrested. Nothing came of these charges though, because they didn't have a lot of evidence. And once the charges were dropped, he would begin to pursue a dancing career, while Antoinette would continue to design clothes. In 1916, Madame Sherri was born. And this was simply because Antoinette thought that she needed a more extravagant name to promote business, and she adopted the moniker Andre Sherri. And it was around this time that Andre's health would begin to decline. He was eventually hospitalized and then passed away in October of 1924. Madame Sherri was heartbroken, but at one point she would attend a party at the home of Jack Henderson, which was one of her stage friends, in Chesterfield, New Hampshire. She then started to regularly attend parties. And then in 1929, she would move to the rural areas of New Hampshire. And she purchased nearly 600 acres, like a dream. That consisted of farmland and forests, West Chesterfield. It was then that Madame Sherri ended up building her infamous castle. She used no blueprints, and she would literally walk around and just put in stakes into the ground. The local craftsmen would find her incredibly difficult to work with. She would often show up pretty scantily dressed and hang over them, and would frequently change the plans. Even with the distraction of Madame Sherri, they still ended up finishing the castle. And she got exactly what she wanted. The style was both Roman ruins and French chalet. The main floor would include a large bar and live trees that would poke through the roof. She would decorate with portraits of famous faces, and animal furs would be scattered around. Cellar had this intimate bistro, complete with tables that were adorned with red cloth. There was a stone staircase that ran up the side of the building that led to her bedroom, even though this was not where she would normally sleep, because the house was only used for lavish parties. And she would actually live in a cramped and crowded farmhouse that was located across the street. Her wild parties would become a local scandal. Her Broadway friends would often attend, and the parties would go on to the early hours of the morning. There would be beautiful women that would attend these parties. So there started to be rumors that this was a brothel. However, that was never confirmed to be the case. Madame Sherri always wanted to be the center of attention. She would always try to outdo her guests with these lavish outfits, and always insisted on making this grand entrance. She would even sit in a chair with a large back that was like a cobra tail, and she called this chair the Queen's Throne. Madame Sherri was infamous. She would come into town with these luxurious fur coats and people would be like, hey, she probably doesn't have anything underneath them. She would always pay for cash wherever she went, and she would do so by taking this large wad of cash out of her bra. However, by the end of World War II, Madame Sherri would run out of money. Her friend Charles Lemaire was actually carrying her lavish lifestyle by sending her checks, and one day those checks stopped, which would force her into poverty. She would move to Kechi, Vermont, and then to Brattleboro, where she would rely on her friends for both financial and emotional support. In 1959, she would return back to her castle, only to find that it was trashed by vandals. And then in October of 1962, the castle would go up in flames. 3 years after the castle burned, on October 20th, 1965, the property would be sold to Anne Stokes. And that same day, Madame Sherri would pass in a nursing home in Vermont. Anne would do her best to preserve the property until she transferred it to new ownership of the New Hampshire Society for the Preservation Forest in 1998. And they still own the forest to this day, and it's known as the Madame Sherri Forest. All that's left of her castle is the foundation, chimneys, and the grand staircase that once led up to her bedroom on the 3rd floor. Now people refer to it as the staircase to nowhere or the staircase to heaven. In 2021, one of the remaining arches of the grand staircase would collapse. Many people tell stories about the Madame Sherri Forest and the castle being haunted. Some visitors report seeing this apparition of a very eccentric woman on top of the staircase, probably getting ready to greet her guests. Others claim to hear sounds of laughter and music, as if no time has passed at all. It's almost as if the ruins are alive. And maybe one of those parties is happening on another plane, and we just can't see it. Let me know if you guys have ever been to the Madame Sherri Forest, if you guys have had any encounters there, if you've had any paranormal encounters in general, and you would like to share them with me. I would love to hear them. You can go ahead and email me at brittanybriereghost@gmail.com. Make sure to like this video, hit the subscribe button, and until my next video, I love you guys. Bye.